Hello, YouTube subscribers. Today or tonight, whenever you're watching this, I am doing another Marvel Fox movie review. And basically, I'm recording this at nighttime. Because I didn't feel like doing it right away after I got off from work. Um, Monday shirt. um, work Monday, work through Monday through Thursday. So, but Uh, I meant to do this review on Saturday, but I decided to take Saturday and Sunday off from basically working at my main job, making the bread and butter job, and then this kind of fun working job. Um, so I decided to do this movie review today, and a few others this week, and then the week after this week. Um, and this movie review is on Fantastic. If you guys couldn't tell by the title of this video, is Fantastic Four 2: The Rise of the Silver Surfer. Okay, don't get me wrong. I liked this. I liked the sequel. It was a good sequel. Until I got older and got more depth in the comics and knew more about everything. Do I still like some Marvel movies, even though how depth I am in the comics now? Yes. Especially with the MCU. I got my problems with the MCU, but I still like the movies the way they are. Because I know once you adapt something from a comic or a book, chapter book, it can't be completely 100% like the comic or book. So, you gotta love it the way it is. Just like you gotta love the way how you make your bed because you have to lay in it. Unless you really want to redo your bed again, then, but anyway, I liked it the first Fantastic Four. I was still young at the time, so I wasn't really how I am now, but looking back on it now, by rewatching it, I and like I said, I still love this one, but the going from the first movie and how good that was to this movie, I do have my problems. Like, there was a bit of too much things in it. There was a bit of too much things that they were trying to cram in this as much as possible. Where basically, the second movie wasn't really so much just about the Silver Surfer. It felt like, because the other half of the movie felt like a short, quick revenge of Doctor Doom. Like, where it basically became like the sequel to Fantastic Four, but part of the sequel is like the rise of the Silver Surfer, which basically we got a little bit of the origin of the Silver Surfer. He rise against his master. Okay, cool. Part of the title. But between those moments of like getting his origin, like meeting him, thinking he's the enemy, getting a little bit of his origin, and then seeing him rise against his master. We Doom comes back. I want to say the mix of his power with the Silver Surfer's energy power mixed with both of those. That's how he comes back to life, because he was frozen and it just woke him up. It just like jolted him and he's like and then he thanks to the surfer, made him look more human again, because after he actually woke up, I'm saying woke up because apparently he was still alive at the end of the first movie. So since it was basically hidden that he was still alive at the end of the first movie, quoted that he would return, um, basically he woke up thanks to the mix of the powers of his and the surfers. I want to say, and not just the surfers or just his. I want to say it's a mix of both. Which he, when we see him wake up, he is at his home in his state, in his home state, Lacberia, um, in his castle home, like we all know that Doom is in the comics, cartoons, whatever. We also see, while the camera's like zooming through the castle of the room that they basically set his little prison cell in. We see the Doctor Doom suit, the new Doctor Doom suit that we will see him in at the very end of the movie. But after he wakes up, gets the Doom mask take off because he hired someone to like saw the mask off of him because it was frozen on there. Um, and then he kills the guy after the doctor that basically after he, um, but which then you don't really get to see it as much, which that's kind of what I hated about the film of now rewatching it, because as I got into horror, and I love the horror aspect of most Marvel movies, and I get it, most Marvel comics and most Marvel characters aren't supposed to go that far dark, but Doom is supposed to be like this creepy, feared, and number one, you do not mess with type of guy character. So when it shows where he's like wearing his robe, sitting his Lagberia throne chair in his castle, and kind of hunched over, looking at his cameras that's around his throne, that's watching the surfer. You see him as like um basically kind of like the emperor, with like you could see like a few scars around his face, and he's wearing the gloves because he has scars on his gloves. But you get to see those, but not the scars on his face, which I'm guessing that it was like really bad, messed up ish. Since basically, yeah, he ripped the mask off his face. But and then after Doom meets the surfer for the first time, and he tries to team up with the surfer, and since that didn't go well, he blasted the surfer, and then the surfer turns around before leaving and blasts him back with the energy that comes from his board, which I'll actually bring that up later. Doom started feeling this weird energy, and he took off the glove that he has on his hands to hide his scars on his hands, and you see the scars, some of the scars around his hand, healing up, and apparently it made his scars disappear, and then he just appears after apparently out of nowhere the military talked to him and hired him and basically told the Fantastic Four, hey, look, you work with him or you go bye-bye. So, but before that, by getting reintroduced with the Fantastic Four, we get to know that basically they're gonna get Mr. Fantastic and Susan Storm's gonna get married, and then they have like a short little story arc that they try to cram into this movie. Is that basically, um, do they really want to continue with this life if they have a family? Do that she wants a normal family, and as a perfect lovable husband, future husband, as Mr. Fantastic tries to be, he he acts like he's completely understandable, like he acts like he understands. And honestly, I feel like he truly did, and where she was coming from. And I think he agreed, where he told her that basically the Fantastic Four would be done once they were married, and so they could have a normal life, a normal family. He would pick up a teaching career to basically pay the bills and stuff. So, which I don't know how they pay the bills now, because honestly, I get it, fame and fortune, but does that really pay? But because I question how do they still. But anyway, well, Johnny is still being Johnny, goofy, wild, hey, which I don't, which, which is, Chris Evans, which Chris Evans said he hated how Johnny Storm was in the second Fantastic Four, which, watching it now, I don't see what his problem was. Like, okay, I get it that most of Johnny's story arc was kind of, not that great, but Johnny still acted like Johnny, goofy, fun Johnny, with flame powers. So, which, Sue and Reed didn't talk about that conversation until after I guess it was their fourth time they tried to have the wedding, and and basically all four times end up being like a circus, like where a bunch of people try to get in and take pictures, and basically, since they were really famous and stuff, they a lot of people acted acted like any normal way towards a famous person, of trying to get their photo, trying to do this, trying to do that. So after the fourth wedding that they tried to do, that's when they had the conversation, because it ended disastrously, because rebuilt the machine for the military, for the government, to attack the Silver Surfer, of wondering why certain parts of the earth is basically going to crap, is basically going to shit, dying, and the Surfer knew it was getting detected, so it went to New York, attacked the machine, and Johnny followed the Surfer orders from Reed, and then after basically the wedding, which that's half the reason why the wedding got destroyed, is because of the Surfer. And after Johnny chased the Surfer for which, it was a cool scene. The action is really cool. I do like the action. I do like the CGI in this. I like how the surfer went through one side of the building and came out. As we normally see the surfer, him a normal male on a board, just coming out of the building like the building is unscratched, not even like it didn't even happen, and he's just like zooming through like he just went through the wall, which that's exactly what he did. And after Johnny catched up to the surfer, Johnny and after he lost to the surfer, something happened to Johnny, which we find out that basically if you touch anyone, him and that person switches powers, and Johnny gets their powers, and the other person gets his powers. So through the movie, he had to be sidelined a little bit, which sucked. Which then he was like half of the issue for the team because he was trying to do good, but he most time messed up. Which, okay, yeah, most time Johnny does mess up. I mean, he's a bit of a firecracker here. And then that's what. And then since the Fantastic Four failed the first two times to get the surfer, that's when Doom came in, because the military talked to Doom, brought him in, and Doom basically quoted that, yes, we're gonna have to work together, but let's get one thing straight. We're not friends. We're not gonna become friends. I hate you. 4 of you. And then and then it kind of gave a few scenes where they're working to get, where Reed is working by himself, not really with Doom, which I kind of wish we got those, where we got those scenes where he is working with Doom, because I think it would have been given a little bit extra emotion, that basically of a little hidden detail of basically, yes, there was a certain time where they actually did work together perfectly fine and they were friends, but we didn't get that with so much storytelling we were crammed into this movie. Which if it wasn't for Doom which Doom found out how to split the surfer from the board, which because his power came from the board, he didn't figure it out, but he figured out where his power came from. It came from the board, so that's when he figured out, okay, if we could split him from the board, Doom can take the board, as we kind of hidden. He had a hidden agenda, because when we didn't see him work with Reed, he was working on this little technology thing to put on his forearm to control the board. When he's able to get to the board, and then which Reed made a machine to split him from the board. The Fantastic Four is held by prisoners by the military. So is the surfer. But Doom is just walking around freely, acting like the hero, and can't wait to get his hands on the board, which eventually he does. Fantastic Four breaks out the surfer, fights against Dr. Doom on the board, and then once they get to like China or Tokyo, that's when Johnny realizes, yeah, it's not gonna take it's not gonna take one of us. It's gonna take all of us, but it could just take one of us. And he absorbs all four of their, well, the other three's abilities, and Reed got worried before he did it because he's like, you don't know what that's going to do to you. And Johnny maturing in each Fantastic Four movie, which sadly there was just two, because I truly believe the more that they would have went going, the more he would have got matured. Where he's like, let's not make this about me. So, and then they all touch hands together. And then Johnny absorbed all their abilities, because the reason why Reed and Ben kind of stayed behind, but eventually he did join Johnny for the fight. But the reason why Reed stayed is because when she was protecting the Surfer, Doom made like this spear blade thing and threw it at the Surfer, and the Surfer was just standing there, and Sue just made a force field and hoping that was gonna block it. No, it hit her right in the fucking chest, where the four symbol logo is on their suit, and then she Ray is just holding her, and that's why that's why Johnny threw in, is that basically if he absorbed all their powers, and yeah, they could win against Doom and get the board. So because which after Johnny basically used all their four abilities and destroyed the little machine on Doom's forearm, and then Ben got like into this machine that uses to like destroys buildings and builds buildings to knock Doom off the board, but like also it knocks Doom all the way into the ocean. And then the Surfer gets the board back and flies to his master, and then fights against his master, which that's when Johnny flies up and helps the Surfer gets to his master, because at first the Surfer was kind of having a hard time until he actually got up there, and then losing oxygen, Johnny kind of flew back a little once Johnny knew the Surfer could do the rest, and joined back with the team to be with his sister. But before the Surfer did fly off, and got back onto his board, he do this force healing thing, put his hand in front of Sue's face after she died, and basically did this force healing thing of bringing her back to life. Which I get it. I actually, when I was younger, I actually cried during that scene, because I'm like, no, she can't die. They were about to get married. Which I get it, happy ending and all that. You really don't want your fourth team member to die, even in the second movie. Especially for it to be the second movie, because if you are able to do a third movie, you're not really going to have the Fantastic Four. You're pretty much going to be stuck with the Fantastic Three. So, able to do a third, you're fucked, because you don't have the fourth member, and it's not really the Fantastic Four, it's more like the Fantastic Three. So, bringing back Susan Storm for a happy ending, including to be able to use the whole entire team for the third sequel, for the third movie. if there ever was. If I wish there was, but there isn't. Um, yeah, so and then at the very end, they were able to get married. Happy ending for the Fantastic Four. Um, uh, like, like, after the Surfer actually stopped his master, and his master blew up, uh, which we thought at the time with the Surfer also died with his master in the explosion, and then after Susan came back, and before the the main ending, not the second ending of the post credit scene, but of which, yes, there was a post credit scene, but the first ending, before that, the Fantastic Four is walking down the street after the battle and be like, no, there is still going to be a Fantastic Four, because if there wasn't, the world would have ended. No one would have been here to save the world if there was no Fantastic Four. And Johnny's like, see, this is what I've been saying. So it was two happy endings, basically. Happy ending for the Fantastic Four team, for there to still be a Fantastic Four, which obviously there would have, because there probably would have been a third movie. And then the second happy ending, which was more for Reed and Susan, to finally be married and be husband and wife. Now, the post-credit scene was where it showed the Surfer floating in outer space, conscienced, knocked out. The Surfer and his board floating in space, which that's when I took it as maybe there was gonna also be a spinoff, but also a third sequel of the Fantastic Four, where obviously the third sequel would have been bringing in probably another Fantastic Four villain, probably like Egghead, because I know Ant-Man and Fantastic Four shares the villain Egghead. Mole Man. They probably would have done Mole Man. And then the spin-off movie would have been the Surfer solo movie. Probably kind of like a prequel or a sequel or a bit of both. In one, which, okay, that could have been terrible. Like most Fox spinoff movies, even though they only did one, and that was Elektra, and that was kind of terrible. The acting was good, the story plot could have been better, the villains could have been better, so it could have ended it that way too, and that's probably why that also got scrapped, because at the end, even though Fantastic Four: The Rise of the Surfer did not do that very good, because a lot of people quoted it kind of got the Spider-Man 3 treatment. There was so much going on between, and there was so much story plot to tell in so little time in one movie, just like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 3 and Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, and that's why we didn't get a Fantastic 3 movie, a Fantastic Four 3 movie, and a Surfer solo movie. So, on the side of basically already pointing out a few of my negatives, which was basically there's too much going on in this movie, including one thing we didn't get to see, because which that was Reed and Doom. That was Reed and Doom working together, because I feel like if we finally got the touch on that, kind of like how we got in the 2015 Fantastic Four, yes, at first they hated each other, and to a certain point, Doom still hated Reed, but he did like working with Reed. To a certain point, he did like to be friends with Reed. There was something about Reed and Doom, they both liked each other, but also hated about each other. That all we got to see from this Doom was hatred towards Reed. We never got to see their friendship hit like we saw there was a bit of friendship from the first movie hidden, but not really so much in this one. And I would have loved to see that again, but and them actually working closely, and then actually kind of bring up like good old times of them actually being friends, or maybe them thinking, yeah, sure, maybe then we were still acting like friends, but maybe we truly were enemies, type of thing. But that's one of my negatives that we didn't get to see, but I already pointed out that was actually in the movie. Another thing that I did hate about the movie, which this is like my final negative, is how the Surfer's master was displayed. Is that basically, I get it that basically Galactus was not the Cloud, even though there are moments where it does feel like Galactus is the Cloud. No, Galactus' ship is a storm cloud. It's not an actual ship. His ship looks like a storm cloud that basically sucks up, like we see in most comics, cartoons, and stuff like that. And then Galactus is like this fiery looking monster that we barely get to see his face at all. It's like very hard to see the face structure through the flame inside the storm cloud. Because I actually looked recently by watching the movie, and it's in there. You really have to look for like the bone structure of the face, but and another, but other than that, I did like one scene when when the ship storm cloud was flying by, kind of destroying the ring, the planet with the ring around it, by the ship storm cloud destroying half of the ring. It actually there was a shadow on the planet that was formed of Galactus' helmet. So that part I actually did like, because it actually made a comic book reference of what Galactus' helmet looked like. So, other than that, basically, yeah, I mean, we basically had another Tobey Maguire / Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, but in the Fantastic Four way. Too much storytelling, two villains trying to be in one movie, but also trying to be the main villain at the same time. So it's a good movie. It was another good Fantastic Four movie to a certain point, but it wasn't as good as the first Fantastic Four movie. So it was just, yeah, so I truly debate maybe if they did Galactus in the first movie and then waited to use Doom for the second movie, maybe the second movie would have done good, because I feel like that's what made the first movie good, was Doctor Doom. but I would have hated to ruin the first movie if they actually still did Galactus terrible in the first movie, because then we wouldn't have saw Doom in the first place. And Doom is, we all gotta admit, the actor that played Doom in the first two Fantastic Four movies is what helped made the Fantastic Four movies good. But anyway, other than that, drop your comments down below. Anything Marvel, anything Fantastic Four ish, from comic, cartoon, character, whatever. Any Marvel character, comic, movie, whatever. Just drop it in the comments down below. Or your own opinions about my videos, how my videos are, or what would you like to see me review, what type of movie you guys want to see me review. So if you're a original old subscriber, I appreciate you guys keep coming back to each single of my videos. I really do. That is really awesome of you guys. If you're a newcomer dropping by, please hit that subscribe button, because I welcome all new and old subscribers with open arms. And if you liked this video, hit that like button. If you didn't like this video, hit that dislike button. I am open, and I do appreciate you guys' honesty. Have a nice night. Have a nice day whenever you're watching this, because I'm once again recording this at night. Peace.